Well, we actually located the exhibition in Melbourne. It was actually produced by a man called Warren Thomas. What he did was he went to Legoland and looked at Legoland and thought that's something that he thought he could do, but he actually thought that it was probably a bit expensive for him to do. So what he did was he actually started working with cardboard boxes, and this included milk cartons, cereal boxes, etc., and started to create this city. It's not a city based on any particular city, it's actually an element of many, many different cities. As time went on, over the years, the city expanded to the point now where there are 900 buildings and over about 200 Maxbox cars. And that includes everything from a jail through to shops, through to restaurants, through to a football ground, which looks somewhat like the MCG and actually has a football match underway where Collingwood is actually thrashing Essendon, which is a point I'm not particularly happy about myself. There's also a car racing track, various takeaway food places, etc. And there's also high-rise buildings, and very appropriately for Geelong, the highest building is in fact the Ford building.
I had a business that went broke and I was thinking what to do next. I really needed a sea change. I had taken my two youngsters to see a travelling exhibition of Legoland when it toured Australia. Went to the Myer stores in all the capital cities. I was just blown away by it and came away thinking I'd like to have a go at something like that. But I couldn't afford Lego blocks, so I started making mine out of cornflakes packets and milk cartons. I started with one little building, and then another one, and another one, another one, and had a block, and I kept on building, and then it's just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point now where Boxworld, my baby, now measures over 200 square metres, which is roughly the size of a tennis court.
The reaction from the public has actually been much more positive than I anticipated. They're actually also seeing the Boxworld through the glass, and they actually come to look at it. And I think it's just a point of fascination. I think it's particularly for boys and particularly for dads, although mums are certainly in there as well. I think it's a bit like model train sets. I know that when I see a model train set operating, I'm drawn towards it and then end up watching it for several minutes. I think it's very much the same. I think it's the intricacy of the city that people actually explore and find, well, I think quite fascinating.
I've had a small one that I've gone to a lot of schools with, and kids have just been blown away by it, and they've been inspired to do their own. So they've gone straight home and wanted to get hold of the first cardboard box they could get hold of, which meant emptying the cornflakes packets.
It is very, very clever. I think Warren Thomas, who created it, was very inspired when he did it. To actually conceive of making a city starting with cardboard boxes was quite an extraordinary idea. And now he actually travels it around Australia. So I think he's not only had a great idea which looks at using materials that you can recycle and reuse, he's actually now produced an exhibition that produces in part a livelihood for himself. So I think it's a great outcome.
I'm hoping to make a living out of it, which is a bit ragged at the moment. One day I'll be hopefully it'll be a money maker, but right now it's barely covering costs. The other thing is just the absolute sheer sensation of enjoyment of seeing people's enjoyment when they tour around it. I don't think I've ever had a dissatisfied customer. In all the places that it's been, people have walked away shaking their heads